Back before the summer, the Parliament decided not to move directly to negotiations with the Council on new legislation on copyright in the European Union. That decision brought the whole file back to the Parliament today, and we voted on individual amendments. I'm happy with the outcome that we've got. In the meantime, and before that decision that we made in the summer, there was a great deal of lobbying which was organised and disseminated over the internet, and all sorts of things were put to us as MEPs. We would be voting for the end of the internet, we would be voting to ban memes, we would be voting on all sorts of things which would mean the end of the internet as we know it. Of course, this lobbying was heavily orchestrated. Behind that lobbying were all sorts of vested interests on the internet. The reality of the situation is that the creative industries, of which the UK is a leader and always has been in the world, have been suffering a value gap. And the value which has been extracted from the creative industries has been realised by the major platforms like Google, YouTube and so on, many of whom pay very little in tax, and of course that's the next challenge that we'll have to address. The situation that we've managed to arrive at is that we've approved legislation that now has a chance of becoming European law that will seek to address that gap and ensure that people like musicians and journalists get fair reward for their work. The notion that this will limit the creative capacity of the software industry is one that, having worked in that industry, I frankly don't weigh. The internet has been the Wild West for far too long. This won't mean the end of any kind of free speech, but it will mean a possibility of fair reward for people who don't just turn up and play a song on the day, but spend 6, 12, 18 months creating that content, and many other industries which are also in the creative field. So I think we've done the right thing by people at work and by organisations like the NUJ, who represent people who work in these areas.